Hey, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to chat about my quarter 4 stats and a sort of wrap up of my 2023 reading goals. So let's just get right into it. So first, let's dive into the quarter 4 stats. How did I finish out 2023? So in quarter 4, I read 27 books, which was, I think, a little better than quarter 3. I think in quarter 3, let me check. I think in quarter 3, I only read 23. So yeah, I read a few more books for a total of 8,601 pages. I read 13 print books, 3 ebooks, and 11 audiobooks. I had one reread, which I didn't grab because I'm lazy. And it's way up there in the top corner of my shelves, but I did reread The Haunted Mask by R.L. Stine. I read it with my kids for Halloween, and we had a great time with it. It was a lot of fun. And then I also had 3 DNFs in this quarter. I DNF'd, if I remember right, I DNF'd Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. I DNF'd This Scorched Earth by William Gere, and I DNF'd The Kingdom of Sweets by, can't remember the author's name. But anyways, yeah, so 3 DNFs this quarter. I had 3 5-star reads in this quarter. The first one was one that I read on my Kindle, and that was The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. I absolutely loved this book because it felt like a sort of like a courtroom sort of drama, maybe a little suspense, but, and it had kind of a mystery element as well. But for me, it was the family drama of it all that just totally took me over, and I loved it so much. Then I had 2 other 5-star reads. I had The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. I just loved this one. It ticked a lot of boxes for me because it dealt with a haunted house. It dealt with a sort of generational family, we'll just call it a curse. It had great writing. It had great creepy moments. I loved this book. It was a great one. And then my other 5-star for this quarter was Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. This is a nonfiction book that I just thought was very well written. It touched on a very important topic, and it was great. So as far as genre breakdowns go, again, no one is surprised that my top genre with 10 books was horror. I feel like if I were to go back, I think every quarter horror is number 1, which is not a surprise. Followed by, also not really a surprise, 7 mystery/thriller books. Then I had 2 contemporary books, 2 nonfiction books, 2 literary books, 1 poetry collection, 1 sci-fi, 1 fantasy, and 1 classic. Then let's get into the goals, right? And this is kind of, the way I'm going to kind of do this is I'm going to just go over like my 2023 goals and how they turned out for the end of the year. Because typically I look at it as I'm progressing through the year and see like where am I at with my goals. So at this point in quarter 4, I've either achieved them or I haven't, right? So starting off, I made a goal in 2023 to read 75 books, and I read 96 books. So it's a little less than what I read last year. I think last year I read over 100, well over 100. But this year I hit 96, which to me is still fantastic, especially considering a couple of the books I read were quite chunky. So I definitely smashed that goal. I'm really happy with it. I had another goal to get my physical TBR to 75, because at the beginning of the year, I want to say it was between 80 and 90, and it was just getting to be too much for me. And I just really wanted to clear my big bookshelf here. I wanted it to be filled with books I've already read, and I was running out of room to do that. Because I think at the beginning of the year, my physical TBR was taking up, I think, 3 shelves, which is just too much. So I wanted to get it down to 75, and I'm happy to say I also smashed this goal. I got my physical TBR down to 59, which it has never been that low. I think since I started my YouTube channel back in 2017, my physical TBR has never been that low. So I'm super proud of myself. And like I mentioned in my 2024 reading goals, I am going to keep going with that and try to get it even smaller and just start reading the books that I have here that are unread and get them read. I also always pick a big book to read every year. And 2023's big book was Swan Song by Robert McCammon, and I did read this. It was quite a big book, and although to me it wasn't quite as good as Boy's Life, which to me is a 5-star, pretty much perfect book, this one got, I think, 4 stars from me, if I remember right. It was good. It was post-apocalyptic. It had a lot of interesting characters. There was one storyline, though, that didn't really hold my interest, and when that particular storyline came up, I was kind of like, eh. But overall, this was good. I definitely want to read more Robert McCammon. I think my next one of his that I want to tackle is called, I think it's called Gone South or Going South. I think it's Gone South. That's the next one I want to try to read of his. Because yeah, he is a great writer. He really is. And then I had my Revisit Remix project. This was a new project that I was starting in 2023, which was basically trying to get myself to read books that I have had on my physical TBR for 5 years or more. So the books that I chose for 2023 were books that I hauled back in 2018 that were still sitting here. And I told myself I have to read these books or they have got to be unhauled at the end of the year. So I had 4 of them and I read 3 of them and I DNF'd 1. So technically I think I achieved that goal because I gave them all a shot at least. 3 of them I did complete. 1 was just not for me. And I ended up DNFing it, so it is getting unhauled because I DNF'd it. So I think overall, I also achieved that goal. There were also 3 reading challenges that I wanted to take part in 2023 and complete at 100%. And they were the Buzzword Reading Challenge, the Books in the Freezer Reading Challenge, and the 20 Books by Black Folks Challenge. And I completed all 3 of those. I got to 100%. I wish I had done a little more with the 20 books by Black folks. I ended up reading 20 and I feel like I could have pushed and read more than that. And in 2024, I'm scaling back on the reading challenges, so I'm not doing that one. I'm only doing the Buzzword for 2024, but maybe in maybe in 2025, when I can kind of start bringing some of that stuff back in, I will do that one again and try to read even more than 20. I had a goal to read 3 classics, and I did that. I read 3 classics. Again, I wish I would have surpassed that goal a little bit more and not just done 3. I wish I could have done maybe like 5 or 6. And that's a goal that I kept for 2024, and I kept it at 3, but hopefully I'll actually read more than that. I also wanted to start reading the books on my Kindle because I had quite a collection, quite a TBR going on my Kindle that I just kept forgetting about. And so I made a point to read 1 Kindle book a month, and I also did that. I read 12 Kindle books this year, 1 each month. And again, that's a goal that I am carrying into 2024, and I'm gonna do it again. Although I was just writing down my Kindle books in my new planner because I like to keep track of which ones I have on there. And right now I only have 12 Kindle books on my Kindle, which is kind of crazy. But I know I'm gonna buy more as the year goes on, and that number is gonna increase. But as long as I read 12, 1 a month in 2024, I will be good. And then the other goal that I wanted to do in 2023 that I also am carrying into 2024 is to read 5 Stephen King books. And I did that, barely. I just barely did it. I finished my 5th Stephen King book for the year, which was From a Buick 8. I finished it on New Year's Eve. Like, I was down to the wire. So this year I am really gonna try to space out my Stephen King reads, because basically in 2023 I waited until the end of the year and I had to read one in October, 1 in November, and 1 in December to meet my goal because I was just slacking. And I'm not gonna do that this year. In fact, I think I'm gonna try to put a Stephen King book on my February TBR so I can get one out of the way right away. So all in all though, I did complete it, but it was a close call. All right guys, so those are my Q4 stats and my sort of goal wrap up for 2023. I completed every single goal that I made for myself. So I'm very proud of myself because I don't think that's happened in a couple of years. So that's great. So yeah, let me know down below some of your favorite or most interesting stats, if you have any, for the last quarter of 2023. Let me know if you make goals for yourself, what was the goal that you accomplished in 2023 that you were the most proud of? Because I would love to know that. And I guess that's it. So here's to meeting our goals in 2024, if that is your thing. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.